God, light of Greetings and salutations. Welcome to Autist Circle number 17, a Norman Rockwell Christmas. I'm joined, as always, by Total Blackout Painting, also known as Fat Dave, and Merry Christmas.
Yeah, Merry Christmas, y'all. So this one, because it's really timely, because we wanted to do, it's right before Christmas, we wanted to do a Christmas special, and it lined up to be Norman Rockwell, fortunately, which is great because he's one of the foundational American artists, and his work really has defined Americana and what the American experience was for a lot of people. His iconography of Santa Claus is his drawings are Santa Claus as we know him today. He was one of the first guys to draw the Santa and the Coke thing. He drew those old ads, and so he's a foundational American artist. And so with that, we will go ahead and jump into the brief. We're only going to do a brief biography of Norman Rockwell here because the focus today is not necessarily Rockwell. We're going to focus on the art and the feeling of the season more than anything. We want to show what Christmas is through art. So I'll start off here. So he was born in 1894 in New York City, and of course produced some of the most iconic American images. And rather than chase the avant-garde movements of the 20th century, he maintained a firm commitment to narrative realism. And his works are clean, neatly defined stories that capture American life in the early to mid 20th century. Through his meticulous process, staging scenes like film sets, using live models, often family and friends, doing multiple sketches, he created some of the most recognizable images of Americana that have ever been produced.
I would say, yeah, just because it's almost become a meme. So, some of his art is just still out there circulating on a regular basis. It's kind of fascinating. In a lot of ways, Rockwell defined, I would say, America of that era.
I 100% agree. And this self-portrait, I think, is very emblematic of that because it shows, the American eagle on top of the mirror that he's looking in. And I really enjoy the fact that he has pictures of Albrecht Dürer, Rembrandt, and Van Gogh hanging his easel as well, which is a really, I think is a really interesting touch.
Well, it also kind
of course,
ties him into what we've been doing with the Autist Circle this entire time.
Yeah, absolutely. So he understands the lineage of artists and the heritage of talent that brought him to where he is. And I think it's an incredibly admirable trait. And he himself was said to be a very kind and pleasant man. So it really is he's a really fitting artist to do Christmas. Of course, his defining platform, the one that made him famous, was the Saturday Evening Post. And he was featured on over 300 covers between 1916 and 1963. And they often featured highly narrative scenes, a few of which we're going to cover today. And moments frozen in time to capture emotional beats that resonate well beyond the time period. So a little aside about the Saturday Evening Post. The Saturday Evening Post was actually it draws its heritage from Ben Franklin. Ben Franklin, of course, with Poor Richard's Almanac and other publications. It's actually a continuity of one of his publications. It was founded in 1821 as a weekly publication. It featured short stories, serialized novels, human interest stories, domestic family life features, stuff like that. Shit tons of ads, really cool old ads, which is really interesting. But it was the American magazine. The themes were highly patriotic with light humor and satire. In an era before TV, was the shared cultural experience that people gathered around. So whether it was as a family or just friends sharing a laugh, Like the Post was the cornerstone of American life for nearly a century. People before they had the water cooler, they had the water cooler to talk, the shows to talk about around the water cooler. They talked about articles in the Post. It was the premier mass market storytelling publication of its time. And many up-and-coming American authors found their works there, including Steinbeck, Sinclair Lewis, Ray Bradbury has works published in it, Kurt Vonnegut. There's so many people that have been published during or even before they were really famous in the Post. And if you've ever subscribed to a magazine, which I have, because I'm old, I used to have two magazines that I really liked. I used to have PC gaming magazines back when they still published, back when you still would get magazines.
Well,
and if you've ever
journalism in magazines was actually reporting.
Yeah. Back when magazines were worth reading, which there still are some. But it's very few and far between, and they are anachronistic. They're highly anachronistic because most people are drawn to, the web, for all their stuff. And I just realized I don't have my Christmas music playing in this scene.
Oh, no.
Anyhow, damn it. So, but yeah, if you've ever waited for your magazine subscription, like to come in, it's an event. Like when I was a kid, getting the fucking new issue of Nintendo Power was awesome. And every month, like we were excited. You didn't know what was going to be on the cover, whatnot. And so the artwork on these covers is phenomenal. It's one of the most brilliant displays of American illustration in all of history, and it really highlights the power and talent of these illustrators during their time. And Rockwell's covers were some of the most anticipated ones, because his were they were so evocative and they were so interesting and they really dragged you in.
And they're also just so detailed. That's one of the things I've always liked about Rockwell is you go through it and you see a level of detail that could be easy to just discard or leave out. I'm like the smoke coming out of the trash can here.
The pipe.
It's like
in the trash can here. Yeah. There's it looks like, oh no, never mind. There's not. It looks like it's just hazy on the mirror, but yeah, the smoke coming out of the trash can, his resting his hand to paint, he shows the very technical and real process, but he does this is such a narrative painting. Like this painting itself tells a story and such a great story just through all the details of it. And again, it's another one of those artists where you don't have to beat the hell out of his paintings to get a lot of meaning out of them. They're emotionally meaningful on their face. And then you can look deeper and find more things. But I think like Wyeth, he did such a good job of capturing American realism and the Americana that he loved so much. But in 1963, so I said he worked for 1960. In 1963, the Post shifted to mostly photography for covers instead of, and then he went to work for Look magazine. From then, and he worked for them for, he worked for them until like 77 or 78, something like that. Or no, he worked for them until the 70s. And his work often, as he became older, his work became more political, often focusing on civil rights, poverty, and the national conscience. But he never, ever abandoned the core American imagery of his work and the work that made him the artist he was. And so he also worked extensively with the Boy Scouts of America. He did 323 covers for them between 1913 and 1976, of course, focused on scouting themes, boyhood, patriotism. He really helped define the scouting manuals I had as a kid had his work in it. and I believe that one of them had his art on the cover as well.
Oh, wow.
Because his love of the country and his love of wanting to help raise young men, just basically he had a very loving encapsulation of the American ideal, and he treated it with a reverence that is rarely seen. So and his art helped the Scouts align their messaging on things along, his patriotism, his art towards patriotism helped draw kids into a more patriotic attitude because they could relate to the art more. I mean, I did, and I do now, even more, even so.
It's just
when I look at these paintings and I'm like, oh.
It's something where I look at something like that, something where I think any other artist could have been frustrated or, well, why am I constantly going back and drawing things for the Boy Scouts? Where it sounds like Rockwell was looking at this and saying, oh, I have a task. This is something that can make a better world happen more rapidly. And that's a rare talent in an artist.
Yeah, I 100% agree with you. I think you got encapsulated that very well right there. But in 1978, he died at the age of 84. He left behind a legacy of memory of America as people wanted to remember it. He very rarely painted controversy. He painted nostalgia and he painted memories, and now they're memories of a time long gone, but they were the America he saw. He painted images of America finding its way as a country, culture, and a people as we were, struggling through 2 world wars and the Vietnam War, a nation at conflict. And he really helped to cement a national identity and helped give Americans an identity to focus around.
Which I think it's that mythos of America that our European friends sometimes will say, oh, well, America's so young. It's like, yes, we're still in the creation of an identity phase in a lot of ways. And
yeah,
I think Rockwell really solidified a lot of that, thankfully. I
100% agree. So with that, we'll jump into the Christmas program here. And we're going to start off with, this is Freedom from Want from 1943. So it's an oil on canvas. It's 45 by 35 inches. And it was commissioned by the Post as a series, The 4 Freedoms, inspired by FDR's speech, 4 Freedoms. The paintings in the series are freedom of speech, which we've all seen. That's the meme of the guy standing up in the jacket. That's freedom of speech.
Yep.
Freedom of worship, which is a tight shot of people praying. And freedom from fear, which was parents. Some parents had their kids tucked into a bed, but this is freedom from want. And while this painting is often referred to as the Thanksgiving painting because of the subject matter, it really is just more about family gatherings. Some people do their big Thanksgiving dinner and have the turkey and everything, and then some people do it on Christmas and forego, and some people do both. Sometimes it happens on both, but the whole reason you do that is to get family together.
Yes.
And to enjoy each other's company and enjoy the holiday. So,
or in my case, painting, I stay in the kitchen and cook, and everybody leaves me the hell alone.
But even that is it's a joy you get, right? Because you're cooking for them. You're cooking for your family.
Yep.
It's the best way to find happiness is to give it away. There's nothing like you'll there's nothing more fulfilling, in my opinion, than making someone else's day, making them happy. And that that's kind of a bit of what that's what this painting looks at too. So grandma's been hard at work, or mom, this is clearly a multi-generational family, and they're gathered around a dining table that of course is very familiar with many of us. And there's an incredible warmth and familiarity to this painting. It automatically makes you feel a little welcome. The viewer, your view is where we're sitting back at the edge of the table, and you're being included in the scene. Especially if you look in the lower left corner or lower right corner and the guy's looking back at you, which I think is a really brilliant, it's a brilliant touch, because then it really does include you in the scene.
Well, and not only that, but it also, because of the colors, it's a bit stark on the table, but you've got those little splashes of color, and then this guy looking at you like, oh, you gonna sit down and eat the turkey with us or what?
Right? Like, yeah, for sure. Like, hey, pull on up. Like, you're in on the joke with them. It's a very comforting scene. It's dynamic and welcoming, and it definitely gives you a sense of sentimentality. But at least for me, it does, and it's kind of one of the things that he wanted to inspire. And really, it is. So, and I picked this as the foundation for the episode, because, the commercialism of the season takes over too much, of course, and I'll bang on about that bullshit that everybody's fucking said 100 times. But the foundation of the season is family and togetherness, and whether that's a togetherness through midnight mass and sharing your love of Christ with your fellow parishioners, or whether it's sitting around and watching a football game on Christmas Day, or doing whatever. The core tenet of the holidays is family and family life. And this was painted, of course, 1943. It was painted to show that this was one of the things that we're fighting for in the war. It was painted during it's painted during rationing, during World War II. So it doesn't show like a big excessive feast here. The table is clean. There's not an excessive food. There is enough food. And again, it's the beginning of the promise for the holiday season. And this image put a really fine point on what they believed Americans were fighting for. This is the American way. This is the freedom from want that we as Americans desire. The freedom where all people have more than enough. Which has been, it's a foundational American ideal, but it's been kind of altered in a way.
Yeah.
So I think this is it's a beautiful piece, not just for the sentimentality, and it's a technically gorgeous piece. Of course, he does such a phenomenal job of catching realism. Like he catches the wrinkles on people's faces. He catches the light in their eyes when they're smiling. I mean, like, this dude down here in the right corner just looks like someone I want to hang out with. We did my Christmas party at work today, and I'm very blessed to have a great team of people at my work, and it makes me feel like this. It makes me feel like you're part of the family. You're welcome. And that's really the generosity that underpins the holiday for myself and many others.
Absolutely. And I think there's also just, speaking of the technical detail, the reflection on the water in the glass is just amazingly well done.
It is. It's so realistic. The lighting on the salt and pepper shakers, you know, the silver salt and the polished silver, it's really good, and it doesn't look. This is a nice table, and it's one that I think anybody would be glad to have a seat at. And you know, unless you're weird, this would be a very lovely family to have a dinner with as well. So. Unless they got one of those weird signs out front of their house. Anyhow.
Maybe that's the viewer has that. You know, you're sitting out there like, yeah,
maybe.
Hey, maybe that's why he's looking at you askew. Yeah.
So this was this is the foundation that I wanted to build the episode on. That family and togetherness they're the ideal for the season. And it was the ideal for America at this time. So with that being said, we'll jump to the next one. And this one's called Christmas Homecoming. And I believe this is another one of those very powerful pieces. So it's 28 by 25 on oil on canvas. And it was the December 25th, 1948 cover.
Okay.
And it's showing this is a serviceman coming home from Christmas. And so while freedom of want is really about the ideal we gather around, this painting really does highlight why we gather. And it's to celebrate family and closeness. Now, the joy and closeness of family and holidays, or of holiday, it's amplified by family. Like you have so much more, and it's why people without close families, I think, suffer so much through the holidays or reject them outright because they don't have the camaraderie and fellowship.
Well, and it's one of those things. I've got some friends who definitely don't have very close family, either geographically or in general. And I always try to do something with them, for around Christmas. And sometimes it's a big deal, sometimes it's not, but it's sometimes it's even just a phone call. And that's vitally important. So that's kind of a poke at everyone in the audience. If you know somebody like that, or you are someone like that, reach out to a friend, say hi. It may just be 5 minutes, but it's something. And specifically with this painting, a serviceman coming back in 48, so he was probably on occupation duty either in Europe or Japan. So that's such an alien culture for that man too, and then to come back bearing gifts to family, that's just something that I can see why this was such a moving painting for a lot of people.
Absolutely. So and and especially because it was painted, in the wake of World War II, when so many men didn't come home. We lost so many good men in that war. So many families were shattered, and so many mothers had to cry into their pillows at night because of the war, because they didn't know if they were ever going to see their sons again. So many fathers had to stoically send their sons off to war to fight the Kaiser or to fight, Hitler, whatever. They had to do it, and I couldn't imagine doing it. Like, it's unimaginably difficult. I would have to do that, but it shows the real strength of character these people had, and especially the love for their country and the love for their ideals. So in this, when it was painted, it really, it tapped into that kind of post-war, the relief that our country was feeling. Because of course, the treaty had been, or the armistice was signed, before this. The war was kind of officially over. The soldiers had been coming home, for years. And it was always a joyous time, right? It's always great when your family member survives and comes home. And especially because it was a big gap between the Civil War and this. There was a big gap before this war came up. There wasn't any major wars before World War One.
Yeah,
Like
because
it
even
wasn't we had a shit ton of little Iraq wars and Gulf wars and Afghanistan invasions between the Civil War and World War One. There was a real hesitancy for America to even get involved.
Well, and the war that we had been involved with, you know, we could talk about the Indian War, sure, or whatever, but you know, the Spanish-American War was such a flash in the pan. And it was done in the name of helping Cubans, and you know, we got Puerto Rico and the Philippines out of the deal, so not too bad. But it wasn't it was a war with a dying empire that we saw as somewhat interfering in our hemisphere. So it wasn't what war became, that grinding, constant death machine that the First World War proved war to be. And yeah, that is such a stark gap that I don't think we really have an appreciation. Because since the Second World War, it's been constant war. And a low level kind of police action, just waste men and materiel, rather than do what we did in the past, which was go in, break things, and that was that. Anyway,
Right.
That's way off topic. Let's get back to Norman Rockwell.
Yeah, but so this was, again, the reintegration of all the soldiers at the time, the end of the war. It was a very joyful time in American history. And this really, you know, it encapsulates that. You can look, this is, of course, the family embracing their son, but this is also kind of an analog for America re-embracing itself and its family.
Mm-hmm.
The detail in this is so phenomenal. Like, everybody, you can see the joy on every person's face in here. That there's no grand gesture, and the drama lies in the feelings of the people you can see. The desperate joy of the mother as she embraces her returning son, and it's something so many mothers just didn't get to do at the end of the war. Every emotion in the image is authentic and organic. Nothing looks forced. The scene unfolds exactly as you'd expect. The animation and the mood of the people draw you in, and it inspires a genuine sense of nostalgia and joy. And I think it's a fantastic encapsulation of the sentimentality of that period in American history and of the season.
I also really appreciate that it's got Rockwell as a self-insert here, and he's almost looking on like the audience, where it's that kind of content, like you're not super overjoyed because it's not your family, but you're happy that all this other stuff is going on. So it's a very content, happy look.
Yeah, I think that he's inserted himself in this painting as with the satisfied image that you would see looking at this painting, and then also is a very like a lot of men were reserved back then. They were prone to grand out displays of affection or emotion, and so the smile, while he's the proud smile, there's pride in that face. As much as there's like relief and love in the mom's face, there's pride on his face as the father there. And it's just it's a fantastic, like, I think it builds on the foundation of the season. So the season is about family, and it's about joy, and it's about coming together. And sometimes you come together after long periods of time. Sometimes you come together after traumatic events. And celebrate and enjoy as a family, and that's really what the season is about. But as that's kind of the emotional foundation for the season that we feel it, we're going to jump into some of Rockwell's more Christmassy images and how he tried to show. Rockwell had a real firm. He had a theory about Christmas, that it wasn't, or his idea of Christmas wasn't that it was magic, or that it was magic without work. So this is from 1923. This is Santa reading the mail. was originally 40 by 29, painted for the December 5th, 1923 issue of the Post. And it shows Saint Nick reading pictures, or not reading pictures, reading the letters that so many kids send every year. I had, I don't know if I wrote Santa letters. I might have. I definitely had my kids do it. My kids wrote Santa letters, and it's a great thing to read what your kids wrote for, Santa. It's just really interesting to see what they think. And it shows.
It's something where it's almost a third-party way to look at their world without...
Yes.
Yeah, because sometimes you get that barrier between parent and child. And
yeah,
that's such a beautiful way of just kind of like breaking that down. Like, oh, this is what they really think about something.
Yeah. Yeah, 100%. So Santa, there's a few things we'll look at here just to point out, just to put a fine point on Rockwell's notion of hard work and Santa. So Santa's sitting at an old, worn and sturdy looking desk, and the pipe hanging from his slightly smiling mouth and eyes capture the quiet joy he experiences while reading these letters, much like the parents do. Because those letters symbolize those children's hope for the season. The letters are hope. They're hope written on paper, and then given to Santa, because they hope for this, they hope for that, they want for this, they want for that. But really, it's hope. The kids, and the hope or the promise of Santa is really powerful for a lot of children. Rockwell's put a halo on Saint Nick to kind of highlight his benevolence, and while the rest of the scene is really just a humanizing of Santa, it's making him real to the kids. The kids looking at this will be like, oh yeah, Santa does have to put in the work. Santa's doing this. Santa does read my letters. It's the illusion that parents maintain. I'll say illusion. It's not an illusion. Santa's real. Santa deniers go up against the wall. So, and this really just shows Santa is not a mythical being, and he's a man who puts in the work for the season. And it shows that the season isn't incidental. It doesn't just happen. It's the result of hard work, and it makes Santa seem that much more saintly. He does this work for all the kids and the families of the world. And it's not just the wag of the finger and a magic bag. Santa puts in the effort. He reads the letters. He takes the time. So this, it not only highlights the effort and the joy of the season, but it reinforces the ritual of the season as well. It's showing Santa in his routine, and it ultimately bears, which ultimately bears fruit for millions of children around the world. And it's what every child looks forward to every year. Santa will never not be a cultural phenomenon. And when he stops being a large cultural icon in our country or in our society, then we will have lost. We'll have lost something very vital. So we'll move on to the next one here, which is along the similar vein. And, very similar to the last one. This was featured on the December 29th cover, 1934. And it shows Santa sitting next to a globe with a magnifying glass, holding a book that says Good Boys, which I love. And again, he has the halo. He's got the quill behind his ear to show that he's working. It's an encapsulation of, again, the previous Santa. Santa's working, but he's happy. He's very happy to do this. And it shows the warm demeanor, and again, another emotion that is the human joy, the joy in his face. That's a uniquely human emotion that is showing on his face. And this was painted before World War II. So the world was still whole and unified after the end of World War I. There's pre-war innocence to the piece, as it not only highlights American Christmas, but it shows it as a global thing, highlighting the whole world. The painting also puts an incredibly fine point on the pre-postmodern version of the world, where you could say "good boys."
Yeah.
Uh,
Yeah.
without inspiring weird blue-haired outrage.
Oh no, there's not good girls listed. Oh no, burn it. It's like, just stop.
It definitely harkens back to a more homogenous and unified time in our history, and one that we long for today. Many of us long for today. So, and it also, again, puts another fine point on the Rockwell's philosophy of Christmas, in that the magic doesn't happen without work, preparation, care, and responsibility. It's that the miracles happen because someone put in the work. You know, the kids come downstairs every day on Christmas, or the kids come down on Christmas Day and see the presents, and it's a magical time. It was a magical time when I was a kid. I'm sure when you were too.
Oh yeah.
And as a parent, being on the giving end of that, it's immeasurably rewarding to see and to know that your kids have awe and wonder for the world. And I think it's crucial that we maintain that in children for as long as possible, to keep them with a sense of awe and wonder in the world. And the humanization of Santa, I think, adds to that by showing that Santa puts in the work too.
Yeah.
And in that vein, we'll jump to the next Santa piece. And this one is Santa with the Elves. It was painted in 1922. It is the cover for the December 2nd, 1922 issue of the Post. And of course shows a tired Santa. And the original painting for this is actually held by George Lucas.
Really?
Yeah, George Lucas and Steven Spielberg both have giant Rockwell collections.
That's wild.
That's brilliant. Like, really, if you
just as kind of that aside with it does explain a lot of their storytelling and filmmaking. Yeah, there's because whether it's American Graffiti or some of the other Spielberg hallmarks like the Indiana Jones movies, there is that callback to Rockwell's world.
Yeah, definitely there are, and those shows both have they have a great love for America and the subject matter. Like Indiana Jones, he's an American icon.
Mm-hmm.
He's of course global, travel the world, whatever, but he's American. Indiana, that's American.
Damn right.
And
sorry, who's your prize slipping out?
But this is another one it's a humanizing image of Santa. Because it shows he's asleep in the chair while the elves clamor around him and making toys and preparations. And Santa's worn, he's wearing a worn work apron. It shows that he's been hard at work. He's not just lazing around. He's been exhaustively making toys for the good boys and girls of the world. And he just needs a nap. They're so close to the end because the elves are loading toys into the sack. They're finishing up the rush on this house. You got to hurry and get this one done. It needs to go into the sack. And so he's kind of like the weary foreman, while his workers are. He's got a good crew.
Yeah, well, it's like
where he can kind of.
Any workplace where the leader is like, the first guy in the door, always locking up after that sort of thing. That's when the employees are like, I mean, he's fallen down today. He's worn out. Let's get this done for him.
Yeah. Yep, for sure. And I've done that for, there's been times when when my supervisors or bosses came in and they're like, we're tired. And I'm like, dude, just fuck off for a bit. I can handle it.
Yeah.
So it also shows a continuity in the operation. There's no break.
Yeah.
Like Santa's got a break. He's taking a nap, but the elves aren't taking a break. It still needs to be done, and they're doing the work. The guy's putting the last coat of paint on top of that house, that rush job. And so, but despite the fantastical elements of the image, it is really humanizing to see a tired and exhausting Santa in the midst of production.
Mm-hmm.
And it shows the season is the result of a tireless effort. It's not just on Santa's part, but also on the elves' part.
Yeah. Kind of a division of labor there of sorts.
Yeah, absolutely. And typical Rockwell fashion, it's a very whimsical scene, and it's comical in its layout and everything. The elf holding onto Santa's ears, they're hauling the paint by a bucket up a string. It's a funny little, it's a cute scene. It's a very funny and cute scene.
You know,
Santa's wearing slippers too. That's another thing.
Oh, yeah, that's cool. To me, this is always one of those. I like having a little bit of the whimsy, the wonder of the world, rather than feeling all tired and worn out from all the bullshit. And seeing that encapsulated in art is something I love, because it's. I'm cynical by nature, but I prefer seeing a happy potential world, and Rockwell has always kind of given that exit to all the seriousness, even in some of his more somber paintings. There's still the little kind of a twinkle in the eye. It's like it's not going to just be crap all the time,
right? And I guess to play on that, the humorous image, we'll jump into the next one, and this is Unexpected Christmas Discovery. It's such a brilliant image, and it highlights Rockwell's ability to capture emotion, like the emotional beat at its peak. This was painted for the 1956 issue of the Post, so a bit later, and of course it shows the moment a young boy finds the Santa costume, and it's been like up to this point in his life, it's Santa. You know, this is, why would Santa stuff be here? And then that realization sets in. It's like, oh my God. So it shows Rockwell's transition from kind of the fantastical elements of Christmas to the reality of Christmas. That Christmas takes work. It takes a lot of secrecy to maintain the illusion for your kids, which is true.
Yeah.
I'm fortunate now. My kids are older, so I can just say, stay the fuck out of my room. Don't touch my stuff. And that's cool. When they were little, that was not so easy. And when I was little, it was not so easy. My mom went to great pains to hide our Christmas presents. You know, and I was a little shit sometimes, and I would find them accidentally or you know,
intentionally,
but yeah, intentionally. And that was another thing too, is I was one of those kids that hated to know my presence. Like I wanted to be a surprise. I didn't want to know what I was getting ahead of time. I wanted to be a surprise. And so that was another reason I didn't do a whole lot of like digging for toys.
Yeah. And there's also kind of that layer of with my family, it's like there were some presents you could kind of figure out where they were. But more importantly, it's like, oh wow, that big present. Wow, I didn't expect that one. Or then the one year, it's like, oh, there's that really disappointing present that it's not the thing that I wanted. But okay, I at least I got a present.
My one time when my mom, when I was a kid, one time my mom she got a new nightstand. She had a lamp and all the stuff sitting on it, and it turned out to be the stereo my brother was getting for my older brother was getting for Christmas. It was really funny. But this is the realization. He catches such a good job, and it really, like I was saying, you know, it takes work to maintain the illusion of Santa for your kids, and sometimes, you know, more often than not, it's some kid coming, oh, Johnny said Santa's not real. It's like, well, you tell Johnny that he's going up against the wall as a fucking Santa denier.
That's right.
You tell Johnny he's getting sticks and stones. You tell Johnny to go fuck himself.
Johnny's getting the lash.
Right. But then this isn't the case in this one. It's really showing the kid stumbled upon this himself, which is even more shocking because he didn't have priming that, oh, Santa isn't real. He's just like, oh shit, he's realized the image. And so the theme is, it's idealized Christmas image. The theme of the idealized Christmas imagery is shifting in the post-war Depression era. And it emphasized the discovery of a narrative of the world of America growing up. It shifts the Christmas miracles from a magical thing to the results of the parents' hard work. And the moment when the illusion is shattered and that reality really sinks in. And like this kid, you can think like, oh my God, Santa right now. Right now you're thinking, oh, this is Santa. But you know, it's kind of like that Sixth Sense noted, like that from that movie, The Sixth Sense, where you look back on it and it's like, oh shit. Oh my God. Like, oh, he was dead the whole time. And it's like, oh, damn, they were Santa the whole time. Oh man. So, but really and again, I said it highlights his ability to capture the emotional beat of the scene because this kid looks brilliant. And apparently he's a model of a famous, like there was kind of a child actor at the time that modeled for this. And so that was another part of the painting. Of course, it's not as relevant to us now as just the imagery. But it really shows. And we all remember when we stopped believing in Santa, when that illusion was kind of shifted from our eyes as kids. And at the time, we may not have understood the full implications at the time, but Santa's, you know, so he's saying Santa's there. Santa's here. The Christmas spirit is here, even though he's not in this image.
You know, and that's kind of the other great thing about Santa it can be any family member in a way. It's almost always the parents, but you know what? Sometimes it could be the grandparents or an aunt or an uncle, and sometimes it allows when the family's struggling, and maybe that one relative who is better off, who is well-to-do, can buy that gift for the kid, but do it in such a way where it shames no one. It's really a matter of giving the gift to the child without it being a burden on the family. You know, that's something in my family. We still have gifts from Santa, so to speak. We all kind of know who it's from, but it's like if it's a big ticket item, it's like that way it doesn't feel cheap or tawdry in any way.
Right. Yeah. And you know, I lament not being able to do more of this with my own children for longer. Not being able to participate in, like, my kids are all grown up. You know, my kids are all grown up and my grandkids are far away, so I don't get to experience Christmas with young children in the same way that I did. But it's no less rewarding now. It's because I love my kids so much, and I'm so excited. I was saying beforehand, it was like I'm excited for the season to be done, but not because I want Christmas to be gone necessarily. Like this year, I feel like this may be the first year in my entire life that I've really gotten the Christmas spirit since I was a young kid. And my motivation is I want my kids to see what I got them. You know, I want them to open their presents, and that's really my motivation for the season. But this is kind of the shattering of innocence, but the shifting of the narrative of Christmas. Christmas is no less magical as a result of this. It's just the magic shifts from being actual magic to like hard work, which is a magical thing.
When you get that appreciation of the hard work, all the effort that goes into something, and then it's like you went from, oh wow, this is just so cool, it's magical, and then it's like, damn, wow, how can I be, how can I help this? How can I be part of making this better for someone else? And it's a great shift.
And so we're gonna jump to the next one, which is it's a humorous one. Obviously, it's more funny, not as serious, but still kind of talks about still speaks to the feeling of the season and the uniqueness of it and the uniqueness of the Christmas experience of the time. So this one's called Santa's Beard. 35.5 by 33.5 inches, and it's currently in a private collection. A lot of Rockwell's works are in private collections, as you would understand. This isn't a collection that isn't Spielberg or Lucas's, though. And this was on the December 4th, 1948 cover of the Post. Of course, it captures the image when a crying child pulls Santa's beard through the course of a tantrum. He's ruining the illusion of Santa for himself and all presents. And of course, for generations, mall Santas or the Macy's Santa, whatever, it's been a tradition. People would take their kids to Santa. I mean, I took my kids to see Santa when they were kids, go sit on an old man's lap and tell him what they want for Christmas as he
smells of alcohol.
Plays Santa. He helps. Yeah.
Sorry, that's just such a theme in so many Christmas movies. It's like, oh, it's the old drunken Santa guy. It's like, but there's like, no, stop. Just sometimes it's just, the older guy in the community who's like, my kids and grandkids are all gone. I want to do something because it's such a magical time of year. So,
yeah. So, when something like this happens and you're all out and all the kids are like, oh my God, that guy's not really Santa. And it takes something that's meant to be a wholesome family experience and kind of ruins it by a crying child. But then also the child, he hasn't even realized, the image is captured before the kid even realizes what he's done. It's, again, one of those perfect emotional beats. The kid tugged, the beard come away for a second, and the guy's like, oh shit. And then the kid's throwing a tantrum, and he's like, pretty soon he's going to look and be like, oh, fuck, you're not Santa, and then the real tears will show up.
Yep.
So he painted this not only to portray the breaking this illusion as part of growing up, but it was also at the time when the nation was forced to wake up from World War II. It was post-World War II. The comforting illusions of freedom and humanity that were fundamentally changed after that. We'd been forced to mature as a nation post-World War II. And Rockwell had his finger on that pulse, and he felt it closely himself. Americans still desired innocence, but the skepticism was beginning to take root in America. And I have here, as the commies successfully shifted our values. But that's an aside.
I mean, you're not wrong.
And this image, it preceded the homecoming image that we covered earlier chronologically, and it shows how Rockwell shifted from the myth of Santa to the reality of homecoming and the reintegration of men coming home and reuniting with their families after the war. So it's multi-layered because it's not just about Santa or the moment when they pull Santa's beard, but it's kind of symbolic of America coming to terms with the post-World War II world, and that we did have to grow up after that.
Yeah.
And let's see. So with that, we'll jump to the very next, the next, but maybe not last. We'll see how long we spend on this one. We're getting close, and this was we kept it light on his biography because I wanted to talk about the work and more about Christmas and a feeling of Christmas and Santa. So this one is Mommy Kissing Santa Claus from 1950. This was the December 9th, 1950 issue cover. And of course, it's based on the 1949, which I didn't realize that song was that old.
Yep.
1949 classic song, I Saw Mommy Kissing Santa Claus, which was a hit across the nation.
Oh, yeah.
I mean,
it still is. Yeah,
it still is.
Beloved Christmas song by many people, myself not included, but many people love that song.
Yeah. It's such a clever and cute song, and I think this image really captures that. And again, it's more of the shift it's more of the shift into the humanization of Christmas. It's playful and it's framed so that we see the realization of the kid. Similarly to Unexpected Christmas Discovery, it shows the kid kind of having his illusion dispelled. It's not traumatic though. It's fun and light. And it shows a genuine loving family who's putting in the effort to make Christmas special. Like, I mean, this guy's dressing up like Santa when the kid's supposed to be in bed to put the presents under the tree, and which is such an amazing and special thing. And mom realizes it. They're really into the spirit of the season. It's such a cute family picture. And it does again, he captures the emotional beat perfectly. There's action. He's leaning over and kissing mom on the cheek, and she's surprised and she drops the presents. And he's undoubtedly got a present behind his back that he's got for mom.
Yep.
He's going to give her present there.
And you know what? It's the keys to a brand new ironing board.
Yeah. You know, one of the paintings I was looking at was something about a Lincoln in the driveway, or dad coming home with a new Lincoln. And it was people, they're focused at the window while supposedly dad's pulling up in the new family car for Christmas. As an aside. And this is, so, and the joke in this image is really only possible because of the authentic experience through the authentic spirit experience through the myth of Santa. Like, the myth of Santa is a very good focal point to help you, give you something to fixate on the season, give you something to, like, oh, Santa and Christmas. It's a fundamental idea that helps you get into the spirit of the season and get you feeling more as part of the giving season, because the spirit of Santa is the spirit of giving, and the spirit of Christmas is a spirit of togetherness and giving and family, which is really what we all should strive for, I believe. Yeah. So Rockwell always says he painted life as he knew it, and in this image it shows that Christmas isn't sacred because it's perfect. It's because Christmas is lived and experienced. It's the small memories, that small gift that you got that you didn't expect. That one thing that every year my boys get me something. They put so much work and thought into they'll build me decks. They build me magic decks.
Wow.
And they've done some really cool theme ones. They're brilliant. They're brilliant at it. My boys are fantastic. Like, they're way better than I ever was at playing Magic or building magic decks. But the fact that they took the time to put it together and make it for me, like, that's the real meaning thing. It's not what it is. It's the fact that my boys love me enough to put that work in for me.
Yeah, put the time and effort in, and that's something where I think too many people, we see the over commercialization of everything, where it's the gift that counts. It's like, no, it's the fact that somebody is trying to figure out what you would like and takes time out of their day, even if it's last minute, but they've taken time out of their day to figure out, well, what would this person that I care for want or need, or what can they not get for themselves that they really would get some joy out of? And then yeah, absolutely. And I'm such a sentimental fool that anytime my kids think of me, I treasure it. I have a bottle of Coke sitting on my shelf behind me that says David, because my boys brought it home for me. I don't drink Coke, but they're like, hey, we found this, it's got your name on it, and you gonna drink it? I was like, oh, I'm gonna go put it on the shelf. I'm gonna keep it. Because I'm weird. I'm hyper sentimental about stuff. I'm really that, but it's that's something that I just, it pisses me off. It's like, oh, sentimentality, it's a bad thing. No, that's what makes us human. That's what gives us life. That's something that gives us the energy to look after the next generation, is wanting someone else to have a piece of the world we had. And
Absolutely.
yeah, I'm just like, nah, fuck it. I'm a sentimental son of a bitch, and I'm gonna enjoy that, and I'm gonna pass that on to everybody I know.
Absolutely. And I think that, I don't know. I think masculine sentimentality needs to be something carried forward.
Yeah.
The notion that you know, that we care and love each other, care for and love each other. And so we're up against our hour. I had some extra ones just in case, but we covered the main ones I wanted to. I put together this warning to the Santa deniers. Santa deniers get to face the wall. So with that, I would like to thank everybody for coming out. I want to thank you, Bleach, for being here with me through this these 17 episodes. It's been a phenomenal experience and an absolute joy to do this with you. And I'm very grateful for you, and I really wish you have a very Merry Christmas.
Well, thank you very much. I appreciate that. And yeah, I think this is just, this has been something that's a little side project that we started on a whim, and it's just such a rewarding thing to go through this, and you've been such a driving force. I have to thank you for all the effort and time you're putting into this, and our audience for tuning in, because I think art's something that's like getting shuffled around and forgotten and surrendered, and like, no, art is for us. And yeah, let's next year, season 2 will be even more entertaining. So
Absolutely.
But yeah, no, again,
So,
Merry
yeah.
Christmas to you, Dave, and all of yours, and yeah, looking forward to it.
Say hi to, or say thank you to everybody in the chat really quick. Fab Daddy, Prime Knight, Kingdom of Vinland, LGM, and there was one other one, Paul Campbell.
Yep.
Campbell Paul.
That guy.
I'm grateful for every one of you who show up. We only do this. Well, I say we only do this for you. We do it for ourselves, but you guys make it so much nicer to do. And again, it's a really rewarding experience, and it's been great. And so with that, I would like to say Merry Christmas to you all, and we'll be back next week with Frank Frazetta.
Ooh, excellent. All right.
All right.
Merry Christmas all.
Merry Christmas.